They won't be coming, my aunt whispered, trying not to look at me. Your parents said they're busy that weekend. Busy? On my wedding day. I stood there in the hallway outside the banquet hall, staring at the guest list in my hand. 2 names circled in gold ink. 2 empty chairs in the front row that would never be filled. Inside, music was playing. My fiancée was laughing with her friends, pretending everything was normal. She kept asking me gently, "Did they confirm yet?" I kept saying, "Maybe traffic." But the truth had already arrived. My mother didn't call. She sent a short message. "Don't be upset. These things happen. These things." Like a son getting married without his parents there. I called anyway. She answered after 3 rings. "You know your father has work," she said quickly. And honestly, weddings like this are expensive. We don't want to feel awkward. Awkward because my wedding wasn't big enough. Because my job wasn't impressive enough. Because I didn't become the son they could brag about at parties. In the background, I heard a TV drama playing. Laughter. Plates clinking. Life going on. They had skipped my graduation too. Missed my first apartment move. Ignored every small win I ever tried to share. But missing my wedding, that felt different. At the ceremony, people kept asking, "Where are your parents?" I smiled calmly. "Couldn't make it," I said. No anger. No explanation. Just silence. When I saw my bride walking down the aisle without my mother's proud tears in the front row, something inside me went quiet forever. Not broken. Clear. I realized something simple. Some people don't ignore your moments because they're busy. They ignore them because your happiness doesn't benefit them. After the ceremony, while everyone danced, I stepped outside alone. Cool night air. Empty parking lot. Quiet sky. For years, I had chased their approval like a child chasing applause. Standing there in my wedding suit, I stopped. I stopped explaining. I stopped begging. I stopped hoping they'd change. I walked back inside, held my wife's hand, and chose peace over validation. They thought skipping my wedding was power. They had no idea it was freedom. They thought they had won. They had no idea what I was about to do next. Married life didn't start with drama. It started with discipline. While relatives whispered about my parents missing the wedding, my wife and I woke up early, made tea in a tiny kitchen, and planned our future on a notebook that cost less than dinner for 2. No speeches. No complaints. Just work. I stopped explaining my life to people who only listened when they wanted gossip. I focused on systems, skills, savings. Late nights turned into habits. Habits turned into stability. When my parents went to family gatherings, they told people, "He's doing something online, small work." They laughed. They shrugged. Meanwhile, I was building contracts quietly, learning finance instead of arguing, growing step by step without announcements. My wife kept saying, "We don't need to prove anything." She was right. We just needed to build something real. Months turned into years. Our small apartment became a bigger one. Our side project became a company with real clients. I bought things slowly, carefully, not for show, but for security. Through relatives, I heard things weren't easy at home. Dad's hours were cut. Mom complained about bills. They still never asked about my marriage. Never met my wife properly, but they always had opinions. He should visit more. He forgot his family. He thinks he's big now. I didn't respond. I kept building. Then one evening, after signing a deal I'd worked toward for 3 years, I bought something I'd dreamed about since my first sleepless night in that tiny apartment. A midnight silver Tesla Model S. Silent. Clean. Earned. I didn't write a long caption. Just one photo. One word. Grateful. Within hours, messages flooded in. Old classmates. Cousins. Neighbors. Even people who had never believed in me. And then my phone lit up. Mom calling. I stared at the screen, surprised at how calm I felt. Her voice was suddenly warm, soft, proud. Beta, we saw your car. Mashallah, it's beautiful. Why didn't you tell us you were doing so well? Doing so well. After years of silence, now she noticed. She asked about visiting, about meeting my wife, about family dinners like old times. Not one word about the empty chairs at my wedding. Not one word about the nights I needed support. It wasn't the car. It was proof, visibility, status. For years, my effort had been invisible to them. My happiness had been quiet. My growth had been personal. But a luxury car on Facebook that they could understand. I kept my voice calm, respectful, distant. Yes, things are good. I said, we've been busy. She laughed nervously. We always knew you'd succeed. No, they didn't. They were still talking about me. I was already far ahead of them. We met the next Sunday. For the first time since my wedding, I parked outside their house in the Tesla Model S. The street went quiet. Neighbors peeked through curtains. My father walked around the car slowly, running his hand along the paint like he was touching something unreal. You really made it, he said softly. Inside, my mother hugged my wife too tightly, smiling like she hadn't missed the biggest day of our lives. Dinner was careful, polite, full of things no one wanted to say. Then my father cleared his throat. We're proud of you, son. I looked at both of them calmly. I didn't need you at my car. I said, I needed you at my wedding. Silence filled the room. No anger, no shouting, just truth. My mother's eyes dropped. My father nodded slowly, like he finally understood something too late. I didn't insult them. I didn't remind them of every missed moment. I just stood up, paid for the groceries they insisted I didn't need to, and walked to the door with my wife. When my mother asked, will you visit more now? I answered gently, we'll take things step by step. Because respect isn't rebuilt with compliments. It's rebuilt with presence. They thought I was weak because I was quiet. They didn't know I was simply busy becoming strong. A week later, my mother called again. This time her voice was softer, slower, almost careful. We miss you, she said. I looked around my living room. My wife was laughing while arranging flowers. Sunlight fell across the table we bought together after months of saving. Peace lived here now. I know, I said gently, but missing someone means showing up, not just calling when you're impressed. She stayed silent. I didn't argue. I didn't accuse. I just set new rules inside my heart. Visits would be rare. Respect would be required. My wife would never feel ignored the way I did. Because family isn't blood alone. It's presence.